critical and critics who love you. I think this is fundamental, especially for some of us who are in leadership positions. It's extremely lonely. It's extremely, extremely lonely. It's in that context. Okay. I thought you keep getting signals, whether it is the supply chain or the procurement system. Changes keep happening. And it's your ability to identify that weak signal which really helps you to develop a strategy. And it's in that context that for me personally, whether I'm meeting consumers or I'm meeting farmers, still I don't understand these two sides, what is happening on a day-to-day basis, you'll never know what is happening. So it's in this, I can continue to keep talking of Mother Dairy till the cows come home. I love it. It's a great place to be in. I would sincerely stop with this in case there are any questions, if there's anything, because this for me can go on and on. It's something which I take huge pride and pleasure in, and something which I'm very privileged. I wish to thank you once again, MMA, for having given me this opportunity. There's so much to talk about Mother Dairy that I can go on and on and on. And I don't intend taking too much time beyond this. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Nagarajan, for that very insightful and inspiring address. May I now request Mr. T. Shivaraman, President, Madras Management Association, to kindly present a memento to our chief guest, Mr. Nagarajan. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause once again to our chief guest. Thank you, sir, for being part of this convention. I request Mr. Shivaraman to also present a memento to Dr. Sita Raman, a guest of honor. And to Mr. Gautam Kumra. Thank you. I now invite Ms. Kavita Chitturi, Vice President, Madras Management Association, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is my privilege to have been asked to propose a vote of thanks today. I, on behalf of MMA, extend a very hearty thanks to all of you for gracing this occasion. A big thank you to our chief guest, Mr. S. Nagarajan, Managing Director, Mother Dairy, for sparing his time despite his busy schedule and for sharing the Mother Dairy story. What a story. Thank you, sir. We must mention our deep sense of appreciation for our guest of honor, Dr. R. Sita Raman, Chief Executive Officer of Doha Bank, Qatar, who has come all the way from Qatar to deliver this special address. Thank you, sir, for your thought-provoking and inspiring address. We would also like to express our sincere thanks to our guest of honor, Mr. Gautam Kumra, Director, Senior Partner, McKinsey & Company, for his highly informative keynote address. We also thank McKinsey & Company for their support to the convention as the knowledge partner for the convention. We are all inspired by your great words of wisdom and knowledge. We would also like to take this opportunity to place on record our hearty thanks to all the eminent invitees, past presidents, senior executives, and corporates who encouraged MMA in its initiatives and quest towards greater service to the managerial fraternity of this part of the country. We wish to thank all the distinguished speakers and chairpersons of the one-day convention who have graciously responded to our invitation in spite of their pressing engagements. We particularly acknowledge the debt owed by us to the convention sponsors and partners who have come forward to assist financially in making this convention a reality and a grand success. We are thankful to the members of the media for their presence and support in covering the event. which of course they have been extending to us over the years. Finally, we would like to thank all our delegates and corporates for sponsoring the executives to participate in the convention. We are sure that you would find your participation a productive one. We thank Ms. Padmaja for rendering excellent invocation. Thank you once again for all of you, and wish you a day of great convention. Thank you.
We are about to commence the first special session. TAFE, which is one of our leading sponsors for this convention, Tractor and Farm Equipment Limited's corporate philosophy of cultivating the world has led to the launch of the Be a Farm Dost initiative, which aims to create an environment of respect towards the farming community. We would like you to have a look at a video which appeals to the people to take pride in farming. Here's a video on TAFE, one of our leading sponsors for this convention.
Thank you for all the sips and the swallows, for all the memories that'll make my tomorrows. Thank you for all the ways you show me your mind, just to my taste, heart, soul, and mind. For all that you've done to help me on my way, for all that you've given, you know, just had to say.
So we have the three distinguished speakers, the chairman of the session, Dr. Bala V. Balachandran. The format of the session will be after the distinguished speakers are finished with their presentation, the forum will be open to question answer. We have given a question slip to all of you in the delegate kit. We request you to kindly write the questions, hand it over to the officials or volunteers, and we will ensure that the distinguished speakers answer your questions. Thank you. I now hand over the session to Dr. Bala V. Balachandran.
Good morning, friends. This is not good enough. I tell you what, I am 78.5 years and counting. All right? And as a matter of fact, when I was in uniform, all of you were in liquid form. And we are talking about new generation, right? This is an old generation, but this old generation, including Rajanikanth, has more energy than many of you. How come? You know, this is an amazing thing. You see Rajanikanth, about 66 years old, who can simultaneously romance with Deepika Padukone and Shreya, whose combined age is less than his age, and make them tired. Right? The reason is, whenever he comes in the stage, you may be bald, old at his home. Leave alone that. Still, he is an impressive guy. The moment he comes there on the stage, everybody loves him. Even if he comes as a villain in Chandramukhi for just 5 minutes with his laka 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 laka, the guy absolutely captivates you. You love a villain. Why? He is so energetic. The way he walks, the way he talks, the way he stands, the way he puts his leg, and the way he chops the head of somebody, amazing. Precision, perfect. If we do not have that energy, believe it or not, we are not going to succeed. And here is a time for India to become a superpower. And that is completely in your hands. So you may say, I am not energetic. How can I be energetic? No problem. Act energetic from this moment. Act. You mean to say Rajanikanth is energetic? He is acting. If you keep on acting, it becomes a habit. Even if you do not want to be energetic, you cannot deny that. So therefore, folks, I want to try one more time your energy level before anything. Good morning, friends. Good morning. Wow, that is what it is. You know what? Leave alone Modi or Jodi. You are a better Jodi for him. You are going to make a fantastic country, and in less than 5 years. And let me tell you why. The country is in a different stage. I want to give you just 5 examples about the new generation of business, new generation of people, and what are they doing. How many of you think, or how many of you know a car called Tesla? Anybody? What is that car? It's a battery, electrical car, etc., etc. It's not only an electric car, not only an efficient car. I have a Tesla. I have also a Lexus. So I was taking the car in the highway. Suddenly, clunk, 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 then it stopped in the highway. I couldn't handle that. Wait a minute, what is this car? I'm in the middle of highway. So therefore, what do? They give a nice identity card, a vehicle identification number, a phone number to call. So I immediately called. There is a lady, very good, pleasant voice. Have a good day, sir. Ma'am, I'm not having a good day. Please don't tell me have a good day. All right, what is your problem? So I was in this place. I just drive. It was okay. Suddenly it clunked, 2-3 noise, and then it stopped. And I could not switch on, nothing. I'm stuck. Sir, could you hold the phone? How much time? 2 minutes. All right, I hold the phone. Suddenly what happens? Some stupid music comes. And I was stuck because nothing I can do. Bloody well hold the phone. It's of course Bluetooth. In less than 2 minutes, with the vehicle identification number and the description I said, she was able to identify with a tremendous amount of sensors in the car to identify where exactly the problem. And in less than 2 minutes, she made the corrections with an artificial intelligence system, with an expert system installed in the car, which I do not know in the manual it is stated. And in less than 2 minutes, she comes back, sir, are you on the line? Yes, ma'am, your stupid music on the line, I am still there. Now try one more time, switch on. I switched on. Guess what? The car starts and the car goes. Imagine, I don't need to go to any automotive mechanic. I don't need to go to any garage. I am just sitting there. In 2 minutes, the automatic mechanic comes to the car in a IT form. How is it possible? And not only that, I had a quintuple bypass surgery. In 2002, I was almost dead. I paid for 1 and got 4 free. Amazing business model. All right? So anyway, I already working in Kellogg because I'm a distinguished professor 24/7. 24 hours in a month and 7 months in a year. Somebody is giving me a full salary for working 24 hours in a month, and everybody says after the surgery, slow down. How can I slow down? Can I slow down below 24 hours a month and before 7 months a year? And I will make my wife unhappy, or she will make myself. Each one will be in the pain in the ass of others. So I said, wait a minute. That's how the Great Lakes came after that, just to avoid it. Now the question is, I have this pacemaker defibrillator. One thing for sure, if I am going to die, but I will not die out of heart attack. I will not die out of heart problem. I will not. Every second, this pacemaker defibrillator is monitoring with the sensors. If anything, I am walking too fast or climbing in a hill or something like that, it is going to pass a message to Medgain in US, and they will be monitoring completely, automatically, and automatically a pulse will be created that will jumpstart my heart, and I will never die out of heart attack. Can you believe that? Number 3. So now let us say, everybody is knowing the best aircraft engines are made by either Rolls-Royce or General Electric. What is the beauty? The General Electric, Rolls-Royce, these engines are not just engines. Again, tremendous amount of sensors, implanted artificial intelligence, implanted expert systems. Every second, it calculates the best fuel efficiency while the plane is on, while the plane is going on. If it is ascending, is it cruising, is it going down? And it calculates that thing. And therefore, what is, can I go to the next one? Next slide. So now the question is, this particular system calculates all the efficiencies, and given at one time the barrel of crude oil was about $100 or more, this is very, very important. Not only that, this particular engine is so programmed, even if the pilot is completely drunk and not effectively working, it will take you to the proper place. Think about that. Your safety is so assured, and this is these two. And of course, between Rolls-Royce and GE, it is more cost-effective, so people are going for that. So now look at that, the sensory mechanism. I can go on and on. There are so many items that are in the world right now where the materials that we are used to has been challenged, the comfort you are used to has been enhanced, and you are also getting all of them because of automation. As a matter of fact, Tesla is going to run a Tesla car from Chicago to San Francisco without a driver. Without a driver. As a matter of fact, without a pilot, also a plane can go, excepting at the cruise, and not at the cruise, at the ascending time and the descending time. Cruise, you don't need anybody. Similarly, there are people, for example, right now, you all see a fantastic product called Facebook. Facebook is, everybody is using, almost everyone is using. Now, if you have shares of Facebook, please sell it quickly. Why? Already in Chennai, in Bangladesh, in San Francisco, in California, in England, a company called Yaxi has been launched. As a matter of fact, about 5 days back, Chandrababu Naidu, with his cell phone, an Android-based Samsung phone, can appeal interactively in a broadcasting quality TV to the entire NRIs in the world. And they can interact, they can ask questions, because each each cell phone, they have also a camera. He can charge into that. Yak means talk, see means see the person. In a Facebook, you cannot talk. You cannot see the person. You can have a photograph. But here, the same price, almost zero. You can access anything. And this is exactly, he has done that. We launched it at Visakhapatnam with a guy who are, you see two of my students, there are more students like that. And one student from Bangladesh with Cisco and several other people have started for 4 years, worked like hell, and now is going to completely topple all the power of Facebook. And this has not only the Facebook benefits, also WhatsApp benefits, interactive TV, YouTube, Skype, everything put together at no cost. And this is happening. Who is doing it? Indians. I want you to know that. Indian guys, not necessarily in India, but somewhere else. As a matter of fact, for a long time, Keshav did not want to come back. And he wanted to be only in US. But finally he said, here is an attractive girl, so I'm going to come back to India and create a business. See, India has not only IT, but also beauty. Think about it. It's called BT. So now you look at whether Miss Universe or Miss World, who are they? Anyway, coming back, things are disruptive. Disruptive technology, disruptive business model. You talked about Uber. 2 people have to walk in France and without a taxi for 2 hours, so fed up, and guess what? Uber came. Ola came. And a lot of people are now identifying where there is excess capacity, where there is, and now something called business analytics, business intelligence, that is now dominating. As a matter of fact, nobody predicted that Barack Obama can ever become a president in the beginning. I worked with a guy by name David Axelrod. Actually, we bought his house in Chicago for my son. David Axelrod charges $2.5 million to be the election campaign chief. How did he win? Pure and simple customer analytics, voter analytics, second to second. On the moment, you can completely change the whole world. And what was impossible, made possible. Especially a person with a middle name as Hussein, getting elected in US, give me a break. Similarly, look at even Narendra Modi. How do you think Narendra Modi won? Everybody predicted 210, 212 seats maximum. He has to go to coalition. Absolute majority, 282 seats. How did he get it? Business analytics, customer analytics. Amit Shah, or somebody to do, and all the business students who can tell exactly the pulse of everybody at the moment. As a matter of fact, now there is actually one more system has come. When some kid has been kidnapped, the kid is now stuffed on the mouth with some cloth by the kidnapper, cannot do, and completely shattered. And actually, the mother was holding him in the shopping center, and the kid saw a toy shop. The lady saw a Gucci bag, and she was in the Gucci. She left the Gucci. That is the boy. All right? And the guy knows what he saw in the same shopping center, the toy store, and he goes to the toy store. And then suddenly, the guy who is watching them, because he's a rich fellow, has kidnapped. Now, the kid has a wristwatch. Of course, it's a wristwatch. It tells you the time and whatnot. But that particular wristwatch has sensors. When the pulse rate goes beyond 2 sigma limit, automatically, without kid touching the phone, it sends a signal to the mother, father, police, ambulance, everybody, including the GPS system in the system, which says where the car is going. And in less than 2 minutes, the police can go and arrest the kidnapper and release the kid. Can we believe that? These are all the kind of new generation. But how this new technology are used? People like these guys, Mimi Ramesh, Keshav Kantamaneni, who do not worry about it. And they believe, even if their parents were saying, people say being materialistic is anti-spiritualistic. They say bullshit to their parents. Why? Or to the guru, including me. All right? Why do they say, sir, the total white money in the world is constant. There are two groups of people, you and I, who are normal, decent people, or thieves, thugs, mafiosis, terrorists. And guess what? If the money is not in my hand, it will be in the terrorist's hands. If it is in the terrorist's hands, there is only destruction and death. Whereas it is. So folks, if you do not make the maximum money, you are sinning. You are doing a disservice to the society. So make the maximum money. There is nothing unethical about it. And make the max money and make sure the money is not in their hands. And it is in your hands, and you learn like anything in the first 30 years, earn like anything in the next 30 years, and return like anything to the third 30 years to Madras Management Association or any charitable organization which does that thing. Thank you very much. I will seek about 15 minutes from each one of the panelists, and then we'll have some questions, and finally I'll give a closing remark. Because of, though we are talking about gender diversity, I believe the ladies first. So because of that, let me invite Mimi Ramesh, who has been introduced. I am very proud to have her as a student of ours in Kellogg. And Mimi Ramesh will take 15 minutes, followed with that Mr. Vaidyanathan. Finally, a student who calls me as uncle, and given his father is not there in the world, I also act as his father. So that will be the order. Each one will take 15 minutes, and then we'll have a good time. With great attention, let us give a big hand to Mimi Ramesh.
Thank you, Dr. Bala, for that very kind introduction. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you, MMA, for the kind invitation as well. It's a privilege to be here. The thing about being, I think, the fifth or sixth speaker in a topic like managing change is pretty much all your points have been covered by someone else. So all you can hope to do is tell you a good story. And that's what I'm hoping to do here today. And I think many of you will agree with me, any of you that have taken change either at a personal level, at an organizational level, or at a global level, that change is a journey. Okay? And it's not an easy journey. So when you take something like a hard journey, say like climbing the Tirupati Perumal hill, you need a good reason to do it. And that's the first point I want to make, that when you start a journey, you need conviction, not just for yourself, but in terms of the other people that are going on the journey with you. Let me talk about that in context of my own life. About 3 years ago, a number of things happened at once. The first thing that happened to us was we ran out of water in our house. Okay? That's a very personal and a very you can't ignore it. We've just run out of water. We get water from a bore well in the house, and we had gone to about 575 feet. A friend of ours said, you're essentially mining for water at that time. So it was not just us, but a number of people who had run out of water. And there were other changes as well. It was getting hotter than usual. But actually, the definition of usual itself was getting redefined because it was hotter for a number of years. There was drought. Madurai had no water. And, I think a very famous journalist said it was global weirding. It was very weird weather. Around the same time, I was taking a course called Sustainable Development, and I think one of the earlier speakers had mentioned this. And as part of the course, in a chapter called Global Warming, I saw a video, which if you will allow me a minute, I'd like to share with you. Now, this video is basically a time series, and it shows the temperature difference of any given year to an average, which is from 1950 to 1980. This data is from NASA. So if a year is colder, it shows up in blue. If it's about 1 degree warmer, it shows up in yellow. If it's about 3 degrees warmer, it shows up in, this is what happens when it shows up in red. This is what happens if we don't have the video, that's fine. It would have been a good video to show. We're essentially about 1 degree warmer now. And, we're about 2 degrees warmer in Madras. So that was what it would have showed. And this is, you might be thinking 2 degrees is not a big deal. Because, one day to another, it's hotter than that. But the one good thing is scientists across the world are actually a very accessible lot. So you can pick up your phone and write to a top scientist and they'll get back. And the digging that I did, it's not just 2 degrees, it's heat waves. This is a database in Belgium. They track disasters from all around the world. And these are decadal totals, like for every decade, how many things happened. What you see is up to 1950, we had, and this is all data from India, we had no heat waves. And just look how it's just gone up. Okay, so this was problem one, which became very relevant for me. But it's not, when it gets hotter, the air holds moisture differently, and it translates to rainfall changes, which leads to stormier weather at one end, and also leads to increased drought at the other end. And this is what has happened in India. Okay, I think all of you have had a personal experience with the Chennai floods. Am I correct? And this particular flood has an urban planning element also in it. But what happens is when this climate changes, events like this are just going to become that much more common. And it's data-based. This is actual data from India. And when you start putting money to this in terms of damages and lives, it really is frightening. So this became a problem that, really, it started from a water problem, got linked and became like a problem that personally concerned me. But there was a third event that happened around the same time. My husband and I were lucky enough to have a second child. And I think, the parents here will agree with me that having a child makes the future that much more present to you. So all these three things together said, this is a problem I'd like to work on, right? This is a problem I would like to begin a change journey on. And it was personally very meaningful to me. And I keep that in mind every day because it's, there are so many times in your journey that you'll just say, this is just not worth it. And you need that reason, front and center, visible, that keeps you to continue. And what I mean by relevance is an important thing as leaders, when you take your team along, that you speak in a language that is relevant for them, right? So when I talk about climate change to business leaders, I don't talk about polar bears dying in the Arctic, okay? I was just talking to a gentleman from India Cements, and the question I asked him was, well, how is your rural demand doing? Okay, and he said, yeah, not so great. And the thing is, so many sectors, two-wheelers, cement, tractors, all of them have tremendous rural exposures. And you see a slide like this, You know, when you start seeing drought go to a decade, back to back, and rural incomes start collapsing, business people then start getting interested. In the Chennai floods, so many factories were inundated. You lost production days. You lost stock. Climate change, when you talk to business leaders, it's going to affect your business this year. Okay, then you can get them on the change journey. If I talk to them, oh, coral reefs are going to die, I think I've lost them already. And when I talk to housewives or mothers, I say, you know, when we started doing waste studies in our house and in our institute, grocery bills went down by 10%. When I talk to students, I'll talk about how waste is bad and Swachh Bharat and all that. But when I talk to a housewife at the house, I will talk about how grocery bills go down by 10%. Make the message of change relevant to your team and to the other people that you are trying to lead. So good, you've started on your journey. That brings us to a number of challenges. Anybody who's taken any change journey, whether personal, losing weight, or leading a company through an organizational change, know that you will meet different kinds of challenges. And one thing I've found tremendously helpful is cultivating a very diverse network and cultivating a diverse skill set. This has two advantages. You can use the tool that you need for the problem at hand. And second is, and this is really important, there's cross-pollination between tool sets. Okay, and let me just quickly illustrate what I mean by that. Our mills won the TPM award a few years ago, and I found the TPM award using data, small group activities, fishbone diagrams, plan, do, check, act, to be tremendously helpful in bringing down our waste, right? So we've got our waste down by 90%, and we have the data to back it. And it goes down every day because we follow the zero waste mentality from the TPM idea. When I write a newspaper column on climate change in the Hindu, and I find, you know, the skill set developed in McKinsey in terms of structuring a message and bringing it down is very useful. I talked of cross-pollination also. The research that I do to write the article is extremely helpful in investing in startups. Now, this is a business audience, and I'll tell you very clearly, Dr. Bala said, you know, making money is very important. The discipline that making a profit brings to any enterprise is something I have the deepest respect for. Because you know, when nobody's going to backstop you. Sorry for the, I don't know whether we are allowed to split into Tamil, but தப்பு பண்ணிட்டா நம்ம தான் அனுபவிக்கணும்னா அதுக்கு ஒரு டிசிப்ளின் இருக்கும். You'll be much more careful about your choices. So I felt, you know, I wanted to see more startups in clean tech. So in the last year, I've invested in about 5 startups. I do only clean tech. Okay, there's a chemical company in Madras that makes chemicals out of probiotics to do things like textile processing. There is a waste manager. And you know, Chennai floods, one of the main reasons was there was a lot of waste clogging waterways. Okay, so the water couldn't go out into the ocean. So there is a waste manager in Bangalore who's doing a stand-up job.